Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GGB Supplier Showcase series. As always, I am your host, Jess Marquez, and I'm so pleased to be joined today by Mark Alsentzer, Chief Information Officer from Pavilion Payments. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jess. Thanks for having me.
So, obviously, the last time I talked to you guys was in the lead up to the IGA show, which by now is about 6 months ago. Obviously, that's a pretty big chunk of time in this industry, in this world. So, could you kind of give us an update as to what you guys have been working on in the interim?
Yeah, thanks, Jess. So, really, I've had the pleasure of working at this company for about 15 months now, and it's been busy since day one. But really, it's gotten extra busy here over the last 6 months as of us has continued to see the transformation that has existed and continues to happen in the gaming space. So, as for what Pavilion's been up to, really three core areas. The first is around enhancing our overall core product, VIP Preferred. A lot of focus on the experience. A lot of focus on addition of new payment methods and streamlining those payment methods. The demographic of the gaming space continues to change every day, and newer, younger individuals are coming into that space and really making sure that we have experience and payment methods that are effective and reach out to those patrons and players, certainly. Second, an area that we're exceptionally passionate about here at Pavilion is around our cashless solutions. So enhancement to those cashless solutions to serve both operators and players uniquely in a more effective and efficient gaming experience. And then lastly, certainly it's core to me, but technology continues to transform, particularly technology in the security space and technology in data and data insights. So exploring those partnerships, those third-party integrations that allow us to leverage some of that new technology to further use those data insights, not only to enrich our player and operator experiences, but also help with data-driven decisions that we use internally here as well.
Definitely. And you mentioned a few different things there. I kind of want to parse through it a little bit. And I kind of want to start with kind of the mix of like how much are you guys investing back into current technology and current products while also researching and developing new ones? Kind of what would you say that balance is kind of right now?
For us, it's about 50-50. And the reason I say that is because our core platform is effectively the payment ecosystem or the vertically integrated payment ecosystem, as we describe it here at Pavilion, that is, effectively core to all of the advanced and auxiliary functions that kind of sit outside of it. So making sure that that core ecosystem, the payment methods, the way data can flow in and out of it is critical to the overall growth. But then we spend about 50% of our time building out some of those more exciting end user touch points. And I'm happy to speak to those here shortly as well, too.
Definitely. And, before we get to kind of, future plans and more general topics, I'm curious is like this at this stage in time, what kind of feedback and what kind of, I guess feedback, but like your guys' VIP preferred technology, for the places that it's already live or for your existing customers, kind of what has kind of been that feedback, as of recently?
Yeah, the feedback we're getting, and this will kind of go to a little bit of what we'll talk about here in a bit, but we've noticed, and certainly a lot of our clients, and both patrons and operators have noticed that the the line between the physical and the digital space has gotten more blended and more gray really over the last 15 months, and even more so over the last 6 months, to your earlier question. So, at its core, what our operators and patrons really like is that our product seamlessly heads and bridges across both of those areas in a manner that is really unnoticeable. It's as we refer to as frictionless. So the feedback's been really good. They have noted, though, that the demographics of the digital space and the physical space are considerably different. So the solutioning that you need in each space has to be unique for those that are traversing that space. So that is obviously exceptionally important, having that wide reach, but then making sure that we can service both sides of that equation with the same platform, with the same solutions, is core to that, to everything that Pavilion does.
Definitely. And one final kind of small thing that I was kind of wondering is, are you seeing any differences in adoption and or implementation between the commercial and tribal sides of the industry? Because I know that's been a topic that has kind of come up several times in my previous discussions around cashless and payments. So, what would you kind of say is like the push and pull between those sides right now?
I would say certainly there's been a little more adoption on the tribal side in the cashless than on the commercial side. But we have, and really to the point of the acceleration here, over the last 6 months, there's been far more commercial discussions than we had in the 12 months leading up to that around our products, our mobility products, and how we can begin to service some of those commercial properties in the cashless space.
Definitely, definitely. Well, speaking of both sides of the industry, we are a couple weeks away from G2E 2024, just around the corner, and obviously the entirety of the industry, not only in the US but of the world, will basically descend on Las Vegas as they always do. So, what would you say is, as of right now, what is your guys' kind of plans and or expectations as we head into the show?
Well, as you alluded to, the entire world of gaming and to a degree payment descends on Las Vegas. So I'm sure it's going to be exciting and fun packed and busy as always. As for our own plans, it's going to be really focused on that digital and physical experience and how our products blend across them. Particularly, we're going to be demoing an enrollment-based product that allows seamless integration and or seamless enrollment into our core products, but some of our advanced payment options, whether you're sitting on your couch at home, whether you're in the parking lot about to walk into a property, and the experience is identical. And regardless where you do it and how you do it, your access to funds, your access to payment methods, your ability to get right into the property and really begin to play while not clogging up cage lines or kiosk lines and things like that is almost instantaneous. So really excited about that product. We're going to be spending a lot of time again talking about mobility. So we will be demoing this year a wallet-based solution. So we are very excited to have the opportunity to really work closely with Apple over the last several months on approval and a partnership of a walletless based solution, which should, we believe, be transformative to the overall industry. And we're going to be more than excited to demo that and then talk about some of the implementation timelines associated with that. And then a lot of continuation of that whole physical to digital area. So you're obviously very familiar, as is the industry, with our VIP preferred warranty products. We have also launched some more mass market digital bank-based products as well too, and have created an experience that again is seamless, whether you're sitting on your couch at home or whether you're having a good time at a property, whether that be in Vegas or elsewhere. So those are going to be our key focus areas. Really excited to begin to show that. And I guess it's always important to say that it's exciting to be able to converse and get to see a lot of the industry leaders again and talk about some of the trends and really help lead some of this industry towards the next phases. And if you're there, we would love to have you out to booth 4411 and kind of show you some of the stuff that Pavilion's been working on.
I know I certainly will make a trip over there. Hopefully, everybody else does too. I will say quickly that one thing I do like about the cashless space is that it supplies me with interesting phrases with which I can use, and I think walletless is the new one that I am now interested in. I'll try my best to work that into one of my upcoming works because I really like that. But another thing I want to touch on with regards to the show really quickly is, you mentioned that you're about 15 months into your tenure there at Pavilion. I would imagine that, last time it was still kind of like getting your bearings and kind of, it was just different. So what would you say is the difference between last year's show and this year now that you've kind of had a full year to be with the company?
Yeah, so and I think a lot of that stems around cashless, certainly. You certainly understand and know that there's been this roller coaster of cashless. There was pre-COVID cashless, where and we had products, we had pretty much a first of a kind product in the 2019 years. COVID hit, and the thought of cashless and touchless kind of spiked to an all-time high. But as COVID started to, recess away and the cashless, it came from some of that all-time high to a bit of a dip, and that was around the time that I joined here. But what we've really seen over the last 15 months of my tenure, and really, again, the last 6 months, is around that cashless push really coming back again, around new use cases, around certainly some of that physical and digital elements I was talking about, but really around omni-channel payment experiences and the introduction of real-time payment methods and a lot of those type of advanced things that only further increases the value of cashless compared to where it was, 3, 4, or 5 years ago. So that's certainly been a big area. And then also seen a lot of focus on the security spaces as well, too. Everyone in this industry understands the security and the risk and the fraud associated with the business for which we come to work every day. So been a ton of focus and change on perspective on security and going about that and having the right partnerships and really putting that to the forefront of our strategy here at Pavilion has been a huge focus of ours too, really over the last 6 to 12 months.
That's interesting, and I think you did a great job there of kind of laying out the timeline of cashless and how it's changed. I mean, even since I joined the company about 3 years ago, I've seen that narrative shift over that time. I got one more for you. I want to get you out of here on this. Thanks again for coming on. Uh,
Absolutely.
if we look at kind of the overall cashless space and kind of take into account that context that you just laid out in terms of how things have changed over the years. Um, what would you say, if I frame it in the context of like, what do you think is the biggest opportunity there, and what do you think is the biggest, I guess, risk and or challenge or roadblock, et cetera? What do you think is the biggest on each side as the industry kind of goes into next year and beyond?
Jess, that's a really good question. So, from an opportunity perspective, I truly believe that the walletless based solution is a huge opportunity. I mean, just imagine a younger demographic person walking by um, a floor and seeing slot machines and wanting to engage in that activity, that gaming experience almost instantly. A lot of those, and it almost sounds crazy to say, well, we might date ourselves here as old men, but a lot of those individuals may not have ever had an experience with a kiosk before, may not have ever had an experience with, an ATM before, may have never gone up to a cage and tried to withdraw money and explore how, to ultimately engage in that overall gaming experience. But what I can tell you with utmost certainty is they all certainly know how to use, a wallet or Apple Pay type of solution. Well, do they want to go through that process of having to enroll and do all of that? Yeah, and they could, absolutely. And there are a lot of really good products out there. I certainly think that Pavilions is the best, but there's a lot of ways that you can do that. But how easy, how transformative could it be if that individual could literally just tap their phone right on the slot machine or right at the table game and be able to engage in that experience almost instantaneously? I think that is going to be transformative. It's going to bring a whole new demographic of players to the space, and certainly something that I'm excited about being on the forefront of. So I would say that's probably the biggest opportunity. And then as area as far as risk goes, security continues to be a focus area. Fraud controls to continue to be a focus area. So that is something that in order to be able to offer products like that, you've really got to put that to the forefront of what you're attempting to do. We've seen in the industry, a lot of that kind of transpiring here. There's been large press releases that I'm sure you've heard of as well too. So, making sure that that level of security, that level of not only consumer safety, but operator level of comfort and safety, that's all got to get squared away. And if that isn't at the forefront of what you're attempting to do, I think you're going to continue to find that's going to be a friction area for years to come.
Certainly, and in the overall context of the industry, I think cashless and more broadly the payment sector in general represents. I mean, I don't want to say almost like kind of reminds me of like ground zero of a lot of a lot of the issues that are kind of circulating the industry as a whole, right? I mean, you have everything from, like you said, you have demographic differences, you have consumer expectations as compared to, if you look at gaming as compared to basically every other industry
Oh yeah.
in the world that do not revolve heavily around cash, which is basically only gaming at this point. So I think it really does. The sector really kind of falls at the heart of a lot of these kind of hot button issues. And I know that, whether it be casino operators or game designers or such, they might, touch on, or they might kind of gloss over, like, trying to meld various generations or various forms of content and whatnot. But I think payment and the physical transfer of money, whether it be cash and or cashless, really kind of is the driver for all those engines to go, right? I mean, if we can't, if the industry can't implement those technologies, then they're really hampered as to what they can do, basically with anything else, and especially with the actual products. So I'll end it there. That's the end of my spiel, but I really do think cashless is, like I said, an interesting kind of heartbeat of the industry right now, and a lot of the challenges it's facing. So I think that's interesting.
I couldn't agree more with what you're saying. I think the industry has reached a bit of an inflection point. And you are going to have, whether you're an operator or a property or whatever, you're going to need to have solutions for a cashless type of offering. But you're definitely going to need to have the traditional things as well too. Cash isn't going anywhere in our industry. And certainly there are large demographics that prove and test that out. So having a partner, having a provider that can operate both in the cashless and non-cashless spaces, and offer some of that vertical payment ecosystem I was speaking to earlier. That's exactly what we're trying to do here at Pavilion Payments. What's make me so excited about this company, but then also the future of our business as well too.
Certainly. Well, Mark, this has been great. Again, the Pavilion team never disappoints with their subjects, and you are certainly no exception. So it was great meeting you. It's great talking to you, and I will be on the lookout for you as well as Pavilion moving forward.
We look forward to seeing you at booth 4411, Jess. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for joining us for the GGB Gaming Supplier Showcase, our exclusive look at the best products and services produced by vendors for the gaming, iGaming, and sports betting industries. For more information about the GGB Supplier Showcase, contact Terry Brady at tbrady@ggbmagazine.com.